All right, guys. So I am so blessed to have the GOAT, RJ Bates, react to some of my YouTube videos. I just found out about this just now, and I figured might as well make a reaction video to him reacting to my stuff. He dropped this like September 22nd. It's October 10th, and I'm just now seeing this. A little nervous. I watched like the first 3 minutes of it, and so far it's like, okay, gotcha. But to give you a little bit of background, the only reason why I ever started posting my cold calling videos on TikTok, on Instagram, was literally because of RJ Bates. Like, I'm not even kidding you. He was the first one that I ever saw like actually posting cold calling videos. So the fact that he's reacting to one of my videos right now is just hitting home. I hope he only has good things to say. I'm sure, like, obviously I'm not a fucking, sales expert or the best closer in the world. I don't think that he would have anything bad to say. He mentioned I got a nice view, Appreciate you, RJ, for that. Let's get into it. The same page. I'm just curious. I've done a lot of these types of probate deals in the past, buying them from estates and whatnot. Do you know if you've received letters of office, or if the independent administrator has received those letters of office just yet?
So I love this. He gets started. He finds out, yes, they do want to sell. Then he finds out the motivation. Hey, it's a probate case. We're still going in. And then I love how instead of transitioning the conversation to something else, he stayed on that subject and really builds credibility with kind of a little subtle flex there of his knowledge about probate cases and how he does these deals, and building credibility with a question. You guys always hear me talk about that. Hey, we build credibility, and we do that with open-ended questions, but also by kind of understanding the process. He does a great job early on, especially in cold call, to get a seller to open up, start talking about this. Seems like a very open and willing seller to kind of communicate with them and answer any and all questions. Does sound very highly motivated. Love that question by Cameron right there.
Definitely was a little bit of a subtle flex that I know that knowledge. I swear to God, I spent months learning the probate process. I was reaching out to probate attorneys. I had a probate attorney do a free consulting session with me for like an hour, and I just asked her so many questions on how probate works. Her name was actually RJ, but anyways, let's keep watching.
I would be the independent administrator, but apparently we've got to go back to court again on the second to find out if we're going to be supervised or if it's going to be independent.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I know that process can take a bit. And regarding this lien, what is this lien about? Because my attorney can work some wonders. You'd be surprised, depending on what kind of lien it is, of course.
Well, if you pull up the MLS, my nephew called himself selling the property, and somebody else signed it. I don't know if it's a lien, but I was working with another gentleman, and he found this MLS.
That is
MLS. So I think the seller is using the wrong terminology here. I'm wondering if what he's saying is that the property was listed on MLS by the nephew, probably not rightfully so, and someone else signed the contract and then filed a memorandum. I'm trying to read between the lines there. I'm not quite understanding what he's saying, because he's saying there's a lien on the property, but then he's using MLS. So again, what I'd like to see from Cameron here is not get too lost in the weeds. We can figure this out through some questions. You don't want to get too into what the specifics are happening, because really this can be resolved once we open up title and find out if it's actually just a memorandum or what the lien is. It's just not overly important at this point, this early on in the conversation, because quite frankly, we don't even know if this is a distressed property that needs to be sold for a discount or anything like that. But it was a good question, a solid transition. Really like the way Cameron started this conversation so far.
crazy. I mean, yeah, if you're the independent administrator, you're the only one that can actually sign off on these documents. So that doesn't make much sense.
Yep, I'm just telling you what I've been told and what I'm going through.
I gotcha. I assume you are working with a probate attorney on this matter?
Yes, his name is Jeff Burke.
I'm not too familiar with Jeff, but I always like to ask just because, we've have had a ton of these scenarios happen over and over again when we just want to buy some property, So looking at the deed, I don't see any liens on the property. A lot of this stuff is public knowledge, and you can see it on record. I don't see any liens on there, but who knows? They might have not recorded something on time or whatever the case may be. But
it's an unofficial contract, is what I was told and what I have seen. The contract is not an official contract.
Well,
now explain that to me.
What I believe is that the nephew listed the property. Another investor came in, got it under contract, and then found out that this is a probate case and filed a memorandum of contract. That's what I feel like is happening. And then someone along the lines, either another attorney or a realtor or somebody told him, hey, this is what happened. We listed your property in the MLS, and that's what he's messing up some of the terminology. That's what I'm reading between the lines. That's what I would assume at this point. But again, I would move on from this topic and kind of get into the nuts and bolts, because it seems like they're going to court pretty soon, and they're going to find out find out that this gentleman right here is the independent administrator, is what I would assume.
Well, if it's an unofficial contract and it's void, it's dissolved. You can't do anything with it now. I mean, in a perfect world, how soon would you like to actually get this property off of your hands and have it sold?
Tomorrow.
Okay, I got you. Just because I don't want to feel like I'm stepping on any toes or anything like that. Last thing I want to do is, be a burden or anything like that. But if you're looking to sell something quick and I'm looking to buy something quick, I'd love to kind of, join forces and maybe see if we can speed things up a little bit for you if you're not opposed.
So love that question. Love how you got the timeline out of him. I'd like to see him now talk about price. I'd like to hear him say, so how much are you looking to get for this property? And then we can go into condition after that, because we understand he needs to sell. He wants to sell quickly. This is a burden for him. What's the two most important things? Price and motivation. We understand the motivation. We understand that he's highly motivated. Now we just want to see, is the price going to match that motivation? I'd like to see him go to price here.
That would be greatly appreciated. But on the other side of it, I'm not looking to make a drastic hit on it either, because, we had an offer 2 years ago for 189. I know the market's not there for that right now because of what my nephew has done. So, we're not looking to take too big a dive on it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not dumping it for $50,000, $60,000 either. That's freaking insane.
No, of course. Last thing I want to do is make this a win-lose or a lose-win for this scenario. I always try to strive for win-wins. But in terms of the condition of the property, I'd love to get a little bit of an idea, maybe run some numbers over on my end, and then I can get like a ballpark figure of what I can work with.
So I feel like this is the first, just baby misstep by Cameron, in my opinion. He did a really good job early on in the conversation when the seller wanted to talk about the probate stuff. He stayed on topic, and he asked a follow-up question about the probate. And then he asked a follow-up question about the lien. He did a really good job of staying in the pocket right there. Right here, the seller very clearly doesn't want to talk about the condition. He wants to talk about money. And so he's like, I got an offer for 180 time. I'm definitely not selling it for 50 to 60. The door was wide open for Cameron to then ask, well, how much do you want? What is that? Cameron says he wants to make this a win-win situation. Why not ask the seller, in your scenario, what number would make this a win for you? Because that's what the seller wants to talk about right now. I would have loved to see him stay in the pocket right there and ask about money instead of transitioning to condition. Because I feel like the path that he's leading himself down now is he's going to ask about condition and then he has to make an offer. I would like to see him stay away from having to make the offer, understand what the seller wants, then talk about the condition, and then you can educate the seller on why your number is what it is.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I think I did jump a little bit too soon away from price. I think I could have definitely said, or asked what RJ just said. And that's like, asking what price do you want? I think later on in this conversation, I kind of get like that little ballpark. Oh, okay, the 189. He understands that the market isn't quite there for that right now. So then I get into condition, and then I'm almost positive I start to talk about price one more time. I'm sure RJ might be like, okay, why are you bringing up price again? You already talked about this. This could have been like a 10-minute call. I'm sure that's possibly what he's gonna say, but let's see. Get in touch with your attorney, get in touch with you, maybe present that offer.
It wasn't renovated in the last 10 years. My grandmother and grandfather owned it. He didn't do a lot of crazy renos. I can tell you the furnace is new in it. Well, a couple years old anyway. I can't really tell you the condition of it because my nephew's been living there, and I'm gonna tell you point blank, it's a great community. The problem is he's a freaking drug addict, and he had people living upstairs that shouldn't have been living there. So I really can't tell you the perfect world. It's not as world. The condition of the building. I can tell you damn life I did.
I appreciate that. I guess more of the bigger ticket items. Like I appreciate you mentioning, a new furnace a few years back. Do you know if it has an AC unit in there, or is it just on the window AC units?
No, it's not central air.
No central air.
Not even central air.
And then in terms of like the plumbing or the electrical, do you know if that's been updated relatively, recent?
No.
No, okay, I gotcha. And then in terms of the roof, do you know if that's been, redone within the last 10 years or so?
In the last 10 years, yes.
Last 10 years, okay, gotcha. You're an honest man. I appreciate you for kind of letting me know these bigger ticket items.
So here's the problem. Cameron has definitely kind of walked himself into he is going to be making an offer on this property. Might be his process. He might always do this. If he had asked at that moment, what is the number that you're looking to get out of this? It's not 189, it's not 50 to 60. It's going to be somewhere in between that. I would assume somewhere, 130, 140 is probably what the seller has in mind and would be willing to accept. With him now, if he would have transitioned from that and got the number out of him, and then we say, okay, tell me about the condition, and he's a very upfront and honest seller saying, hey, I don't know, and I know that my drug addict nephew lives here and there's issues and all of this going on, that's where Cameron could really kind of hammer home, like, so if you don't know about the condition, how are you coming up with this dollar amount that you want for the property? Because it's hard for me to come up with a number. I don't know the condition. I would have liked to have seen him really ask that question because now Cameron's in a precarious position, right? He kind of understands some of the bigger ticket items. Obviously, we have to assume that all of the cosmetics need to be updated. And then he comes up with a number, but it's a blind number. We don't even know the number. We have a range, right? More than 60, less than 189, right. But we don't know what that number is. I always want to know that number. That's, to me, it's one of the most important things that we can find out.
So what I'm kind of catching, I'm catching this drift that And if I remember correctly from watching his content previously, I'm almost positive, I might be wrong, that he tries to go for that offer and that contract like on the first call. That might work for RJ. I know RJ does a lot of like nationwide. What is it saying here? I think he's done like 50 states, or he's wholesaled the deal in all states. I'm strictly Chicago, and like how my sales process works. When we're making those offers, we like to kind of do it in person. We like to go out to the property, meet with them. That's just our process. We haven't dabbled into other markets other than Chicago. We used to make a bunch of offers over the phone, and I think our contract rate was about like 20%. So every offer that we made, we got about like 20% of those back in. But then once we started doing in-person appointments and we're going out there meeting with them, they see us, we see them, our contract rate then jumped to 50%. So for every 2 offers we were making, we were getting a contract. So I'm kind of assuming that he's expecting me or wanting me to start to like make an offer at the end of this call, which just really isn't my process, but I'm open to ideas, RJ.
That could possibly be, I know how my grandfather left it. I could give you a condition in the last 2 years to save my life because of this.
Yeah, it's not the first time I've heard something like this in the scenario. And then I know you mentioned, there's some things with probate that needs to get figured out. But let's assume you do like our offer, and we do get the probate stuff figured out, and you decide to move forward with it. Is there anything else, or what would be like the next thing that you would need to get figured out before you can actually close on this, if anything? Maybe some memorabilia in the house, or having to move some personal items, anything like that crosses your mind?
Nope, you can take it the way it is. It wouldn't hurt my feelings. There's nothing in there that belongs to me or anybody in my family that I'm concerned with.
Okay, got it.
Interesting question. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I'm assuming the majority of the time when Cameron asks that question, he gets a pretty similar response. Where it's just kind of like, especially this deep in the conversation, what are we in 7.5 minutes, but it's edited, so this is probably somewhere in the 10 to 11 minute mark of the conversation. I mean, it's like, hey, if everything is taken care of, is there anything that you would like to remove from the house? I don't know if that's a relevant question to where we are in the conversation, right? And maybe Cameron does that because he wants to see if there's anything that has to be removed from the house. Maybe like an order situation, there's going to be quite a bit of trash removal, debris removal, stuff like that. Again, just when I see a misstep in a close, then sometimes I see the trickle down effect of like the next 2, 3, 4 questions where I kind of somewhat am like, I don't love where we're going. I loved where we were, but now I'm kind of like not loving the conversation as much. I will say I love Cameron's tonality. I love the way that he's building rapport with the seller. He sounds very credible on the phone. Just a few little tweaks, and I feel like this conversation could have been like epic. Whereas right now, I'm wondering how we're even going to get to a position of making a solid offer, and how could this be a closable deal at this point? I don't feel like it's closable because he's going to be presenting an offer. I feel like the end result at this point is probably going to be like, okay, Cameron, let me go to court. Let me find out if I'm the independent administrator. If I am, then I'll call you back. That's what I feel like we have walked ourselves into right now.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the reason why that's the case, I don't know how probate works in other places, but until you get those letters of office, you can't even sign off on most things. It's a null and void contract. So that's why I think these probate ones are a little bit trickier. But the reason why I'm asking those questions, this is something, and I have a couple more of these questions that I do ask. I kind of like call them like the deal killers. And this is something that I learned from John Martinez, absolute savage. It's going over the deal killers. I like to ask like, okay, do you have to figure out anything else before you can accept an offer? Do you have to talk to anybody else before you accept an offer? And like, when are you able to actually accept an offer? And I know in the back of my head you can't accept something until you go through all the court stuff. So that's something that I go through, because last thing I want to do is make an offer and then it's like, oh, like I got to go talk to this person, or oh, like before I accept this, I still got to get this stuff figured out. We might just have different sales processes, and I'm sure we do. Like he does nationwide. Sometimes I think he's making offers like on that first call, or like even like 5 minutes later. Again, like we like to go in person, actually see these houses, make sure that we're making a legit offer, and get pictures, videos, and whatnot. We're primarily a Chicago market, so that's what I can say on that. Easygoing guy, man, you'd be surprised. I don't come across this scenario quite often where you make it smooth.
If you know what we've been through in the last 2-3 months, man, you'll understand. We are so ready to be done with this process. It's unbelievable.
No, just curious. Based on everything that you told me about the condition and everything else that's kind of going on, if we were to, maybe be able to speed things up, kind of maybe help get things cleared up and out of the way with things and get that headache off your hands, what do you feel would be like a fair price for this property?
150, 160.
So I said 130, 140 is what I feel like he would be willing to accept. He comes back with 150 or 160. My question to Cameron is, Why didn't you ask that when he went to talk about money?
I knew it.
Because
I knew it. I knew he was going to say that. And honestly, it is a mistake. If you're on that topic of money, maybe stay on that topic of money. I called it. I had a feeling he was going to say, like, why are you jumping around this conversation? So I called it. And I swear to God, this is my first time watching this video.
then you could have talked about the condition, and then you could have been talking about money while you were talking about the condition. Now it's a little bit harder, in my opinion. It's a little bit more aggressive when now you've asked for that number, and now we have to stay there and talk about it. It's easier to say, well, what's the fair number? What's the winning number for you? 150 or 160? Okay, tell me about the condition. I don't really know. I haven't seen the property in years. Well, how are you coming up with 150 or 160? How do you think that's a fair number? Because quite frankly, I want to know the seller's mindset. I actually want to know how they came up with the number. So even though he hasn't followed the exact same flow that I would like to hear him ask that. How did you come up with that number?
Yeah, totally. So it just seems like we maybe have a different framework of things. I really like to start off with setting that stage, kind of going into motivation first, and then condition, and then going into the deal killers. And like in the deal killers, that's where like I start to ask about price. I know like money can be like a little bit of a touchy subject for some people. That's why I don't really like to bring it up in the beginning of the call or in the middle of the call. But what he's saying basically is like, yo, if they bring it up, talk about it, then go into condition, because then you can kind of use what they said on what they want based on like what they're telling you about the condition, and you can be like, okay, so you told me all that, how did you get to 160? Like, this isn't quite making sense to me. Makes perfect sense. I just have a different framework, and maybe that's something I need to keep in account. Maybe I can have my acquisition team start, using, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll do some digging and I'll let you know what I see on my end.
But again, keep in mind, when we're making offers, we're always doing it in person. Like we love the in-person appointments. We love going out there and actually making them that offer. We're trying to build something here in Chicago, like an actual stamp, kind of like a new Western. That's kind of what we're trying to do here in Chicago. So, actually, seeing our company name, seeing our company logo, seeing our faces, and actually coming out to the property is just something that we think is going to be, it's been working for us. So that's why in terms of price, let's talk about it in person. Like, let me get a ballpark range of what you're willing to work with. You said 189, now you're talking about 150, 160. We get out to that appointment and we're talking face to face, and I get to really see what this house looks like. Now I can really ask, how are you coming to this price? You know what I mean? And not only that, in-person appointments, you can probably even get it at 100 or 120 or 110. So that's my take on that, kind of my 2 cents.
I'll tell you this.
I'm sure you will.
I'm gonna take about like 20 to 30 to talk to some partners to see what this property can qualify for in terms of price.
He made a face. Does he not like the partners thing? I mean, like, I genuinely do have partners.
And I can maybe give you a call back today or maybe next week or over the weekend. And then from there, I can kind of let you know what we have to offer, what it would look like to work with us, and anything else that I can get figured out regarding this probate matter, because I do have some resources that I'm able to look at online to see if everything's all clear and ready to go, and then I can maybe even talk to my attorney about some sort of affidavit of heirship if that can help at all. He knows better than I do, so I definitely want to just ask him about it. He's very knowledgeable on this matter, and we can kind of take it from there. How does that sound, JC?
Sounds great to me, sir.
Awesome. Alrighty, well, I'll do that, and I can get back to you, or I'll have one of my partners, Ethan or Tristan, get back to you as well, and we'll take it from there, my friend.
Okay,
Appreciate you. I hope you have a great weekend, Tracy.
yeah, you do the same, sir.
Ethan's my business partner. Tristan is like head of acquisitions currently. Keep in mind, guys, like I have a whole team built out now. We have damn near like 13 plus employees. So like Tristan's head of acquisitions. We got Logan, head of dispositions. Me doing these cold calls, I'm just calling out to people, seeing if I can set up any appointments for my acquisitions to go out there. The people on my acquisitions team, they have wives, they have kids, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be taken away from them. I want to make sure that they have enough food on their table, more than enough food on their table. So that's why I'm kind of like calling through here and then setting it up for my acquisition team to go out there and actually close the deal. That's our process. We love in-person appointments. I don't know how many more times I'm going to say it within this video. But obviously, like, I'm very busy. We're operating the business. I've got content, this, that. So like, I am not able to go out there and do that. And honestly, we hired, our acquisition guys and our dispo guys for a reason. Honestly, they're a lot better than me at doing this stuff. You know what I mean? So that's why I like leverage that, and I want to make sure that my team can get paid. As long as if my team is getting paid, I'm getting paid, and now we're all happy. So I'm curious what he's gonna say.
Positive to you if you are.
You as well. Take care. Awesome.
All right, so I actually really like Cameron and how he navigates the conversation.
You have no idea. Yeah, I don't know what he's gonna say after that, but you have no idea how warm that makes my heart feel. I'm not kidding. He is the reason why I started making the cold calling videos in the first place. And just to hear his words hear him say my name, say that he likes what he's hearing, damn, like that's a full circle moment right there. Damn, like.
I feel like the process is just broken. That was not a good result for that phone call. That is a highly motivated seller. Quite frankly, if I had to use an analogy here, I feel like Cameron has top-notch talent in offense that is like a football offense that's just not calling the right plays. That should have gotten to a much better result. I feel like Cameron is actually far too knowledgeable for that to be let me do some analysis. He's doing the analysis. He's clicking around. Unless there was just something that he saw that alarmed him to force that to be the result, I feel like that could have been way better. Way better. Far too talented, far too smooth on the phones. Did a great job early on, and then you could just see. I mean, he went the 4 pillars route, right, where price is always last. He found the motivation, he found the timeline, then he went condition, then he went price, he found out the price. And then now we're mandating, we're forcing and choosing to make this a multiple call phone process when this seller literally told him earlier on the call, when do you want to sell? Tomorrow. You can have the house tomorrow. I don't like that. I will never be okay with that being the result. So for me, right there, I would have rather have seen Cameron take the time to really dive into it, figure out this is what, all the stuff that he's talking about with the probate, talking to his attorney and all those things, that could have been resolved post getting a contract signed. I mean, we should have been talking about, let's try to get this deal done as quickly as possible. Let's come to an agreement on price today, get this signed. We'll help walk you through the probate process because he's saying he has the ability to do it. Flex that muscle, actually show him, prove it to him that you're willing to get it done as quickly as possible. And even with the follow-up, I mean, it's like maybe we'll call you tomorrow or over the weekend or maybe next week. It's just so loose. Like, if I'm that seller, I'm like, well, I really like Cameron and I thought he was going to be a solution, but I don't even know when he's going to call me back. And I don't even know if it's going to be him. It could be Ethan. It could be Tristan. Damn. All right. On to the next. I will also tell you this, Cameron, if you watch this, if I talk to him, I'm coming in, you'll never have an opportunity to talk to him again because I'm going to close that deal. That's a highly motivated seller. And if the price is anywhere remotely close to being a wholesale deal, then we're going to snipe that from you. And when you call him back, he's going to say, I decided to move forward with RJ.
Oh, I love that. And he's probably not wrong. I mean, RJ's been in the game for fuck if I know how long. You know, that's we tell, you know, people on our free classes all the time, like you guys have a sales process that's probably trash, and then we have our sales process. If we get in touch with that seller, we're going to be getting that contract, and you know, you're going to be hearing that Cam got that contract and you didn't. So I mean, he's 100% right there. The only thing, what did he say again? Do I got to go back? He said, he like a multiple call conversation. It seems like he doesn't like that. That's just how our process works. And in terms of the probate, you know, he's not independent administrator just yet. Like, nobody's appointed to make the decisions on those, on any of the assets within the estate. Again, I studied probate, so I know probate damn near like the back of my hand. Nobody's appointed administrator just yet. They don't even know if it's supervised. They don't even know if it's independent. So if I were to even sign a contract with this person, you know, his attorney would be telling him like, hey, you can't be signing contracts. Like, you are not the independent administrator. Like, when we put, when we send contracts to these probate deals, we're not putting the independent administrators their first and last name and that's it. We're putting the independent administrator of the person who died's estate. So that way, like, everybody's in the loop, title companies know, we don't got to go through a bunch of hoops and whatnot. So that's the only reason why, you know, I'm not going to be like making an offer or jumping the gun on this. This is something that I'm going to be like nurturing and, you know, following up with on a regular basis to, like, one, provide value. You know, hey, where you at with things? Do you need any help? Do you need me to like nudge anybody? Do you need me to get my attorney involved at all? Things of that nature. And that's the only reason why I wouldn't go for that, because even if he did sign the contract, it means nothing. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive from, you know, the talks that I've had with my attorney and even trying to do this in the past, like that contract means nothing, even if I were to get it signed. So RJ, you tell me, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive that is the case. I'm not a probate attorney. I'm not an attorney. I can't give any legal advice or anything like that. It's just my opinion right now.
So, really good call, actually. Normally, I would like to start with motivation and really dig into that. But when it comes to these probate matters, and, you know, they already made the decision that they want to get rid of that property, you can't pecker too much on, you know, why do you want to sell this? Why not just keep it? Like, what's your motivation? Because they were given a property that they don't even want. Somebody passed away, and they just want to sell it and get rid of it. So there's not too much to pecker on that. What there is to pecker on, or maybe probe on a little bit, is kind of the urgency on it. Like he said, he wants to sell it tomorrow if he can.
Exactly. Listen to your own advice here, Cameron. This is why you should have never gotten off the phone.
This thing is a complete headache. You wouldn't believe what's happened in the last few months. And then obviously when he does bring up, like, you wouldn't believe what it's been like in these last da-da-da-da, I'll be like, oh, what do you mean by that? Just to kind of make him say it out loud, create a little bit more urgency. Instead of probing on it and asking him, why do you want to sell? It's like, let me ask like a problem-inducing question that will kind of create some more urgency. And that's kind of what happened there. So this is what I'm looking at here. I'm on Zillow. I'm in the neighborhood that it's at. Go to sold. Looking at multifamily because it's a 2-unit. I'm looking back the last 6 months. Look here. This 2-flat. Let's confirm that it is a 2-flat. Multifamily, generous-sized bedrooms. I can assure this is definitely a 2-unit. Sold for $400. And if you go to the price history, in 2022, he bought this for $160. So you heard the man. He's willing to sell it for $150 to $160. It's a $10,000 wholesale deal that we potentially have in our hands here.
Well, actually, in my opinion, I firmly believe he could get this for $130 to $140.
I agree.
Especially if he's missing the part that the seller actually doesn't know the condition. If he educates them on, hey, we're taking a chance on this, sight unseen. I bet you can get it for $130, $140, and then you turn around and sell it for $150, $160. I really like the fact that he showed the deal analysis there. I wish he was using a better combi tool than Zillow, but at times Zillow could be, useful in this scenario. I'm curious if this is the follow-up call. If this is the follow-up call, then I'm going to love it because I want to hear how this finishes.
Hello, Ray. Hey, Ray, this is Cam. I just had a quick question for you regarding... I'm in Chicago.
Oh, yeah, how you doing, Cam?
I'm doing real good. I appreciate you for asking. I just wanted to see if there was any interest to sell that in the near future.
Yeah, I got somebody over there. We got a squatter in there.
Woo! All right, so cold call number 2. We're moving on to that one. So I really like his cold call intro. I mean, he does a really good job. Sounds really smooth. One of the things that I want you to take away from Cameron is he does a really good job of slowing down, right? Hey, Ray, this is Cameron. This is Cam. Like, he does a really good job. A lot of times we let the nerve and kind of the adrenaline, especially with cold calling, because you can go pretty significant time in between answers. He's done a really good job of like watching his speed. And also, I know he's on camera, and so some of this might just be because he's on camera, but I really like his body language. I like how he kind of reacts to what the seller's saying. I kind of like how he'll have like the subtle little victory, like fist pumps and stuff like that. Because I can tell you, sellers can feel that body language on the other end of the phone. So 2 really solid takeaways. The speed in which he's delivering, his cadence, and then also body language.
Goodness gracious.
We're trying to get him out, man. That's where we are.
Oh my God, you got a squatter in there? How'd that happen?
I don't know. They moved in. He said, well, you're with my cousin's house. I'm in charge of his estate. And we're trying to sell all his properties, and we can't sell this one. That's because the squatter's saying he owns the house.
Man, these guys, they make businesses out of this stuff nowadays. They break into these homes, they write fake leases, they have some mail sent over, and then boom, they got a house to live in for free the next year.
But the house is, the deed is in my cousin's name. So, I don't know, man. I got a lawyer working on it. He's been working on it for a year.
Been working on it for a year? He's
But
been...
the taxes are due, so we kind of decided we're going to pay the taxes or just let it go, man. I don't know.
Oh my goodness, these people are thinking about letting it go to the squatter. Listen, this is why wholesalers have a place in the marketplace. Okay, we solve these types of problems. I really like to see Cameron really come in and be a solution for them. Like, this is our responsibility to our industry right here. Clearly, he's cold calling a probate inherited property list, and this might be what he focuses on, right? Being a solution for these types of problems. I really want to see him kind of come in and really show his expertise here.
Family wants to do.
Interesting. Do you know how much is owed on the property?
About 10 grand on back taxes.
Oh, that's nothing.
Well, somebody bought the taxes. We have to redeem it by next month.
Okay, is there any outstanding mortgages on the property?
No.
Okay, so really the only thing that we need to worry about is the taxes and then the squatter?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the squatter.
Do you know if we have any sort of direct communication with the squatter, or?
I was talking to someone, another broker. They went over there yesterday and rang the doorbell, and some little kid came to the door.
Oh my God.
But this guy, I pulled him up. He's a pedophile. He shouldn't have to be around kids. So I told him to call the police because he's a child molester.
Oh my goodness.
Convicted. Yeah, it's just always something, man. I swear.
I think I can figure something out with this. I mean, this isn't the first case where, we've had to deal with the squatter, we're having to redeem some taxes. I don't want to just jump the gun and say, oh, we'll pay the taxes, we'll redeem them for you, we'll pay the squatter to get out of there, but we can get something figured out here, I think.
I love that response because that's almost identical to the same response that I have when crazy stories get told to you by a seller, which this is a crazy story. I mean, it's like, it was his cousin's house, estate, squatter moved in, now he's claiming it's their property, the guy's a convicted felon. There's children living there, and he's a convicted, pedophile. I mean, this is insane stuff, right? I love how just right off the bat, you throw all scripts, throw all process out the window, and just immediately go into, I could be your solution. I could solve this problem. Because that is the ultimate rapport that you can build with a seller right there.
I love that he mentions that because that's something that I preach on so heavily. Like when you're talking with these homeowners, like don't make it seem like it's a face-off. Like make the conversation, like visualize the conversation where you guys are standing next to each other, trying to figure it out side by side. And that's exactly what I do within a lot of my phone conversations is like let's be on the same team. Let's make this a win-win for both of us. Like we're on the same team here. Let's see what we can do to get this figured out. So I love that he mentioned that.
To the credibility that you are the solution to the problem.
If we can, make this a win-win for the both of us, I think there's something that we can get figured out. Maybe I can have one of my guys swing over that way and talk with him, figure something out, and maybe we can take it from there. Do you know how long it's been occupied for?
Oh, how long he's been living there, you mean?
Yeah.
Shoot, a couple of years.
Oh my God. He's in there deep. He's been there for free.
I love how we just had the same reaction. We both went, ugh. That's so funny.
That's the bad part. Now, let me do this. Let me do a little bit of digging. Yeah, I can hear you. Let me do a little bit of digging. Let me talk with you. Can you hear me okay? Let me try to talk with somebody that's helped me with something like this in the past, and we can kind of go from there. I'm curious to see if maybe we can have a conversation with the individual that's staying there currently. Maybe we can send him a letter if he doesn't answer the door. Maybe leave a couple sticky notes on his windows and see what we can do here. Because what he's doing, I mean, it's so unfair. I mean, he's living in a house for free. You know, you guys obviously just want to sell this off. You don't want to have to take any sort of hit with taxes.
He's suing the estate.
He's suing the estate. Wow.
Yeah.
My
The
goodness.
house belongs to him. Crazy.
Do you know what his name is?
Michael.
Michael.
Yeah, he got a record man as long as your arm.
He got a record. Okay, let me tell you this, all right? I'm gonna do some digging. I'm gonna talk with some individuals, and we'll take it from there. And I'll have myself or one of my partners give you a call back. Let's see if we can get this thing squared away.
Okay, let me know, man.
All right, take care.
Hey, so same thing as the first call. I mean, there's a highly motivated seller, and he's saying he's the solution. Now, I will say, I'll give him a little bit of grace on this one. He probably does actually need to call somebody and figure out, like, maybe it's an attorney, maybe it's someone to go over there and, politely ask him to leave. Who knows what he's going to do as far as his phone calls goes. But, man, Cameron, I'd love to see you to get to, like, hey, man, when we got this motivated of a seller, let's get into the nuts and bolts. We know that it's highly distressed. He never asked about how much money do you need to move on from this. He doesn't know how much bad taxes are. I would have loved to see, like, hey, what do you want to solve this? It's probably a little bit on top of the back taxes. He's probably got to do some sort of cash for keys to get the squatter out of there or something. I will say that's the first time I've literally heard a seller say that the squatter is suing the estate.
RJ, you got no idea what it's like dealing with some of these deals in Chicago. That's all I gotta say.
That's next level confidence in your squatter abilities. That is insanity.
Squatters are crazy.
No, squatters are actually so ridiculous. I swear to God, what they do. I'm just looking at the deeds here right now.
You're gonna sign us till 2024?
Let's start a course on teaching people how to squat homes.
How to be squatting?
No, because what squatters will do, and it's honestly so insane, they'll write up a fake lease, they'll break into a home that they know is vacant, get some mail sent, and that's all they need to have a case.
Oh, well, it's like their home address or residence.
Because then it's like, okay, well, because then a court sees that as well. Like, okay, well, they have a lease, they have this, or they have like a deed or something like this. So then they got to really look into it and say, all right, we got to go to court for this. And then you're stuck in court for a year and a half, however long. You know what cold calling is like? It's like fishing. It's a waiting game. You cast in your line, you wait for the bobber, start moving a little bit, you get that little green icon on here telling you that somebody's about to answer, and boom, you reel them in.
Hello.
Hey, Mrs. Handy.
Yes.
Hey, Mrs. Handy, this is Cam. I just had a quick question for you regarding...
This is who?
Oh, this is Cameron. I know I'm kind of calling a little bit out of the blue. I was recently in the area, drove past that property.
I just realized how inappropriate that was. What the fuck? Editor, why did we leave that in there?
Let's see if there was any interest to sell it in the near future.
Sure, make me an offer.
All right. So this is the first one that he's getting like that true cold call line, right? Who are you? He did a really good job. He slowed himself down even more than he did on the first two calls. Really kind of lightened up his tone, kind of trying to mirror her. And then she hits him with the make me an offer. Now I'm assuming he feels like he has a pretty go-to like process script that he's using. He doesn't sound scripted, but he definitely has lines that he uses. I'm assuming he's going to have one right here for make me an offer.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, before I can do that, I just want to get a little bit of an understanding of the condition of the property, run my numbers, do my proper due diligence, and I'd be able to give you kind of like a ballpark figure from there to see if we can come to an agreement.
Go right ahead.
Awesome. So yeah, in terms of the...
See how simple it is to rebuttal, give me an offer? Some people might make it easier than others, but just shoot it straight. Keep it a buck with them. Be transparent. Be like, yo, like, yeah, awesome. Yeah, you're looking for an offer? Fantastic. Just got to get, some details, and then I can get that to you. Oh, okay, cool.
In terms of the condition, what would you be able to tell me about it? And, like, at least the bigger ticket items, at least to save us both some time. Like the furnace, does it have a furnace?
Oh, the outside. Oh,
I will say one thing that I did fuck up on here. I didn't go into motivation. Like, why, what has you thinking about wanting to sell this one?
two furnaces. I have two tenants in there paying $1,800 a month. One on the first and one on the second.
I mean, amazing how, she just immediately changed her tune. He did a really good job there. One thing he needs to work on, he says in terms of a lot. And I don't have a problem with that, but when you're asking...
I got a bunch of my little things that I always say. In terms of, I say a lot like crazy, so those are just little ticks in my head that I got to get rid of.
About the condition, it's in terms of the furnace, in terms of the HVAC, in terms of the roof. Just be careful of using the same language over and over and over again, because then it does sound, even though he's doing a pretty good job not sounding scripted, you'll start giving that not authentic feel.
Yeah.
You start sounding like a cold caller, and you want to avoid that at all costs.
I could not agree more.
It needs some outside work. I would probably put up some siding and do some things on the outside. And probably do something on the back porches.
Okay.
Would be my plan, yeah.
Gotcha. And also just kind of curious, what has you thinking about selling this property?
Oh, I've been a snowbird in Florida for a long time, and I want to sell about 12 pieces and get out of here. I've had enough of Chicago.
Had enough of Chicago. Well, I'm ready to take the torch. I just got here and I'm ready to keep the legacy going strong, Mrs. Handy. But you said that you got 12 pieces of property you're looking to sell?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Are they all kind of in the south side of Chicago as well?
All in that same area, and one in Dalton.
Oh, it's my bread and butter. Except Dalton with that new mayor. She's a unique one, I gotta say. I don't know.
She'll be going soon. She'll be going soon.
Fingers crossed.
So you gotta be careful when you talk politics. Unless they bring up politics, I always want to avoid it. You don't want to.
No, this is a different story. If anybody if any normal, fuck, that's politics at the end of the day. You can't really say that, but no, like this. All I gotta say, look into the mayor of Dalton, Dalton, Illinois, Dolton. Insane what she's doing, actually.
Lose a deal just because you say the wrong thing. You never know what side of the fence they're on.
I love the Dalton area. It's a nice little neighborhood. So I'd love to, continuously build some more real or portfolios over that way. But you say that you've just been in Florida, snowbird over there, and ready to just get rid of everything over here?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I gotcha.
So what are you looking for?
I'll be completely straightforward. I'm looking for something that I can come in, do some renovations on, and then kind of do a quick fix and flip on. The vacant properties tend to be my favorite. Yeah, vacant properties tend to be my favorite just because obviously they are a little bit quicker deals, and we don't have to, hold hands with tenants trying to help them.
The only two I have vacant right now are 2 houses, a 5-bedroom on 74th and a 3-bedroom in Dalton. Everything else is rented.
Would I be able to take down those addresses by any chance?
Sure.
All right, I gotta do something about that little buffer. I don't like the bleep, but I also don't like that. So I gotta just mute it or something because that is an ear rape.
Bedroom, 2 bath, big Queen Anne house, about 3,100 square feet. Dalton, 3-bedroom, 2 bath.
You said 138 what?
04.
04. And what was that street?
Yeah, I'm probably looking for
I'm surprised he's not saying something about that little screech. That shit is terrible.
at least 100 for each of those.
100,000 for each of them?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Minimum.
And just curious, how long have these been vacant for?
74th has been vacant for about a year. Dalton just moved out last weekend. I've been housing immigrants. I had 20 families. And a lot of them can't afford to pay the rent after the government paid their first portion. So I'm clearing them out.
Got it. Okay. I know you got a bunch of properties, and the last thing I want to do is make you feel like you're taking a survey on what the condition of these properties are. But to save you and myself some time, I think these prices are pretty fair, if I got to say. If we were to want to maybe set something up to view them to get a better idea of the condition, to maybe make you an offer next week, is that something that we'd be able to set up?
Sure. Just make sure you're in that ballpark and we're not wasting our time. But yeah, I can get you.
Perfect. Yeah. Awesome.
Dalton needs, I was going to have Dalton ready in less than a week. That's nothing. As a matter of fact, I got a Section 8 tenant. I just have been working on these 3 flats and I haven't gotten over there. But that's a quick fix. And then 74th, you should drive by that since you're right over there. Needs a little more work.
Needs a little bit more work. Okay. Do you know if the 74th is on a lockbox or if there's some sort of access to it?
No, I don't. No, you have to call me back. I'm John or myself can show like that. I'm not sure he's available today because we got 3 boat charters trying to get this boat ready. So I would say next week is better.
Okay. That works out. No, yeah. I know Father's Day's on Sunday as well, so I think I would want to wait till next week as well. But okay, yeah, that sounds good. Now, and just always something that I like to ask, would anybody be upset with you if you didn't speak with them first before, actually accepting an offer on this? Maybe somebody that, you value their opinion on price, or, somebody else that might have a decision on this? Hello? Hey, Mrs. Handy? Let's call her back. This is a great deal. Luckily, I got a lot of the info that I need. What I'm going for right now, the only thing that I wasn't...
Hello?
No. Hey, Mrs. Handy, I think my call dropped. I'm sorry.
Hey, yeah, Yeah, that's okay. I wonder where you were.
I don't know what happened there,
So go
but
ahead. What's happening?
yeah, no, I just wanted to see if there was potentially anybody else that you might get upset with you if you didn't speak with them first before actually making the decision to sell. Maybe.
No, I'm getting all kind of offers in, so I'll give you my email address. Just send them to me, and I'll give you a quick reply.
I got you. I guess I was trying to see if there's potentially any other decision makers that what you'd want to talk with first before actually accepting an offer or anything like that.
Oh, there might be. There might be. Just send me something, and I can take it from there.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah, no, typically I always like to just have all decision makers there, just because it, makes things faster. We don't have to play a bunch of phone tag, but,
Not a problem.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm faster than you are.
no, I'm sure. I'm sort of newer to the game of real estate, so I wouldn't doubt that at all. Now, my team and I, we are very flexible with our closing timeline. For these two vacant ones, what is your ideal timeline on when you'd actually like to, close on the property and collect that check?
We can close in a week or two.
Okay, perfect. And awesome. Yeah, so I'm gonna just kind of take like the next 20 to 30 minutes to talk with some partners that I'd like to buy these properties with. And then I can give you a call back maybe sometime next week, set up those times to maybe view the property, and we can kind of take it from there.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mrs. Handy. I hope you have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's that.
Ribbon. Absolutely. Like, actual great deals.
So I love his energy there at the end. Him and his team, they're super pumped up for cold calling. I believe that all happened in one day because it repeatedly talked about Father's Day being that weekend. Really good results. I would say on that last call, felt like the seller, he kind of lost the seller there a little bit at the end. Not saying it's going to cost him the deal, but with the whole decision maker, she's like, yeah, I'll be faster than you. Send me what you got. The other thing is the conversation on that one shifted from them talking about walking the property to now just email something over to me. I didn't like how that one ended. I didn't like that question. I don't ever really like that question about decision makers because quite frankly.
Really? RJ, don't you get people all the time saying like, okay, yep, I think it's a good offer. Just got to talk it over with this person. I value his opinion. Don't you have sometimes you make an offer and, not all decision makers are there, like people that got to sign and whatnot, Personally, me, that's a deal killer in itself. Like you make an offer and now they got to go talk with people or like they value somebody else's opinion or they got to talk with other people and whatnot. Like, I want to make sure like we have all decision makers there, but hey, maybe we just aren't seeing eye to eye in that part of our framework. But
frankly, you can find that out with just pushing forward with the close, right? Hey, I'm willing to make you an offer right now. You said $200,000. I'll give you $200,000 on both of them. So instead of asking if there's a decision maker, you're gonna find out when you made that offer right there if there's another decision maker.
But I hate that though. Because then you make that offer, and now they're gonna go shop that around. You know what I mean? It's like you're putting, in my opinion, RJ, I feel, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or whatnot, but I feel like that offer is like the only leverage that you have, and like one of the only reasons why they keep answering your phone calls because they want to know what your offer is. They can be giving you all these smoke screens just so they can get that offer and then use it on the next person that calls them, or use it on the next person. So I don't like to make my offer because that's really the only leverage that I have to, one, get them to answer, and two, have them entertain my my conversations.
Looking at the full scope of things, 3 cold calls, 22 years old in the Chicago market. Here's my feedback. Very smooth, very confident on the phones.
Scary.
Love his energy. Love his ability at times to ask really great questions. On the bad side, I think he is using a process that I wish he would move away from. I think if we made some tweaks to his process, he would be so much more efficient on the phone and across the board inside probably his whole wholesale operation. It feels very much like we're always doing multiple conversations. We're never closing on the first call, no matter how motivated they are, no matter how great.
Never. Can't. We like the in-person appointments, RJ.
Price is. Hey, he even said it. These are great deals. Why are we adding an opportunity for you to miss out on them? Why aren't we getting off the phone? Why aren't we trying to close?
That's why on all of the conversations that I had, I was going for that in-person appointment. Is somebody able to meet us there? Is decision makers able to meet us there? Because we value the in-person appointments so heavily, and proof is in the data. When we make any changes to our business, we're going based off of the data. What are the KPIs looking like? What are the metrics looking like? What do we tweak a little bit to get this kind of a result for, qualification rate, this rate, all these metrics. And that's why we made that decision to always do in-person appointments. Because like the data said, previously when we were making offers over the phone, our contract rate was only 20%, sometimes even as low as 15%. But then when we started doing the in-person appointments, our contract rate went to 50%. And also, we're not nationwide, we're Chicago, you know what I mean? We need someone to go out to that property. They're able to go there that second. We just value those in-person appointments so freaking much.
Don't love the whole talk to my partners thing. Never a big fan of that. Even if you do have someone to talk to, I just don't like losing that stature in the call, that place of authority and being the decision maker, like he presented himself throughout the call. Like, own it. And then the last thing, on that last call, when she said, "I'm faster than you," I really didn't like his response there. I think it caught him off guard. It was almost like the seller was telling him, like, if you're the real deal, why aren't we doing this now? Because if you're just going to email me over an offer right now, why can't you just verbally just make the offer? I'm assuming that her husband was the other decision maker because she had brought up her husband to be the one to show the property, and he wasn't available that day. So when he repeatedly kept asking about that, pretty sure it was just like, yeah, my husband right here is the other decision maker.
I'll be completely honest. I think it did catch me off guard with her saying that, kind of like busting my balls a little bit. I think I could have just been like, I think I could have just like rebutted that and be like, oh, you want to make a bet on that? Oh, let's make a bet on it at the property. Just kind of turn into a joke or something like that. But yeah, he's totally right. My response to that was a little mid.
And then when he said, his response to that was, "I'm newer in the industry. I'm always down for being raw and real and honest and transparent. But you don't have to just throw it out there. You already got a younger voice. If she sees you in person, she's going to see how young you are. Just don't throw yourself under the bus and say, hey, I'm newer in this industry, because to someone like this who then says, I'm getting a lot of offers, I'm getting a lot of calls, I've got a Section 8 tenant, I've got this going on, I'm working on these 3 flats, I got 12 properties." The other question I have for Cameron is, she said she has 12 properties she wants to sell. Why do you only want to take 2 vacant ones? Tenant occupied properties are great to wholesale. I would rather have seen him go to the direction of, send me over the information on all 12 of these properties, and let's see if we can put together a deal on all 12. And then if it doesn't work out and you only want the 2 vacant ones because those are the right price ones, then you can make that decision. But he essentially wrote off 10 properties unnecessarily just because he didn't even get the information. Overall, Cameron, I really like you, bro. I really like you. I like your style. I think you're going to be highly successful in this industry. I'd love to work with you, man. I'd love to be able to tweak that process.
What the fuck? What the fuck? That is so crazy to hear RJ Bates say that about me. You guys have no idea. You have no idea.
Just a little bit. At least have you and your team try it out and see if you get some better results. Because I feel like right now, whoever's process it is that you're working, I don't believe it's your own. I believe it's someone else's that either paid for education or something like that. I can almost promise you they don't get near the results that we get, not only here at Titanium Investments, but also just people inside Titanium University. Just a few small tweaks, man. I bet you we can see those results go through the roof. Is Cameron a closer? I can't tell you that because I didn't see him close anything. I will say he's a hell of a cold caller right there. He's very smooth on the phones. And for being 22 years old, I've got some 22-year-olds that work for me. My average age of people that work inside Titanium University is 22 years old, or at Titanium Investments, I'm sorry, is 22 years old. And he doing a great job. I feel like my boys could probably close a little bit better than him just because they actually go for the close. I never actually saw Cameron go for the close. So, but again, I think that's just part of the process. I bet you if I can find a video of them actually doing the close, then there would be really good results there because he is smooth and confident and sounds good on the phone. Great job, Cameron. Love to connect with you in the future. If you see this video, if anybody sends it to you.
Lovely. That was sick. That was fucking sick. So yeah, to kind of get to answer what he was saying at the end of there, he said like, is he a closer? I don't know. I'll be completely straight. I'm doing none of the closing anymore. That is something that I was doing in the beginning, and I'm sure RJ can maybe even relate. Like, he has his whole operation. I'm sure that he's not in the acquisition seat closing these deals either. Unfortunately, that is where me and my partner Ethan are at within our business. You know, like I said before, we hired these acquisition guys that are honestly even better than we are, and I want to make sure that they have food on their table. So I want to be able to tee up these opportunities for them. Like, I don't have to be in the seat like cold calling and whatnot. Obviously it helps the business, but also like shows you guys like what that initial conversation looks like. So that's really why I do make a lot of this content, is help out the team when like a lot of leads are being generated and we don't want to neglect those leads. Also just to go out cold call and, you know, generate more leads for our company and whatnot, to then pass over to our acquisition team so they can follow our process. Again, he said, you know, we just have 2 different processes, and I couldn't agree more. Like I said before, we like the in-person appointments, and you know, that's kind of our process. What else did he say? Let me go back.
Like this, who then says, I'm getting a lot of offers, I'm getting a lot of calls, I've got a section.
Oh yeah. The reason why. So yes, the seller mentioned 12 properties. I wanted to talk about the 2 vacant ones because I feel like that would give us the quickest opportunity to get out to the property and meet them. Like, if we want to meet at a property that is occupied, we got to coordinate with tenants. We got a lot of stuff that we got to figure out before we can actually meet there. With this vacant one, it's, hey, like, okay, what day are you free? Let's meet there and let's look at the property, and then we can talk about all the other deals. Again, in-person appointments is our bread and butter. You know, we're trying to build out the Chicago market to then where we can just copy and paste our SOPs over in this market, you know, copy and paste our business over into this market, rather than trying to like figure out a bunch of different markets, because a lot of markets are, you know, different. They have their different rules and shit like that. And like Chicago in itself, you know, has a bunch of things that, you know, are like Chicago specific. So that's why like we're just trying to dial in this market right here, right now. And we are in the process of, you know, adding another market over in Pittsburgh. So again, to kind of talk about like why did you only talk about 2 of the properties and not all of them? You know, when you're having, let's say like to talk about 12 properties, it can maybe get a little bit like complicated. It can become a very long conversation, or even if it's just like send me over the 12 properties, da 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 da. I think that is something that I could have done. Like, oh, okay, so yeah, like let's talk about these 2 vacant ones, but in the meantime, send me over the other ones. Let me take a look at it. That is definitely something that I could have done here. But overall, I could not be more excited to have gotten this kind of feedback from RJ Bates, and I'm glad that he was even able to say some bad things that he didn't quite like, because you know, I'm a student to the game at all times, you know what I mean? I'm always trying to learn, always trying to see what new processes we can possibly implement. So I got a bunch of key takeaways from this, and you know, I'm again just so mind blown that I got RJ Bates, the GOAT, reacting to my videos. Full circle moment. Used to watch his videos when he was doing the cold calling videos, and he's literally the reason why I started making cold call videos in the first place, because like I saw the way that he was doing it, and I was like, like maybe I can do the same thing. Like I'm already wholesaling, might as well just like put up a phone and record these phone calls and see if people like it. And we've come to here today. That was about like 3 years ago, or no, not 3 years ago. That was about like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. But overall, I don't know if you were able to tell, I was pretty nervous watching this whole thing, you know, when you got like the GOAT like RJ Bates, who you used to and still kind of look up to, but one of the biggest reasons like why I got started within wholesaling and why I started making content in the first place, when he's reacting to my shit, like obviously you can tell like I'm gonna be a little bit nervous, my armpits are sweating a little bit, but you know, my heart rate, it's a little bit more down now, because he had good things to say and some, you know, obviously some reasonable bad things to say as well that, you know, he made a bunch of fair points on. But yeah, that was sick. Appreciate you, RJ. Let's definitely link up soon. I don't know where you live at, but yeah, let's jump on a call. I don't know if you're tightly connected with Rafael Cortez. That's my boy. That's my guy. Get a lot of mentorship from him. To this day, he was my first mentor. Maybe you can connect us. Maybe I can shoot him a text right now. Maybe he'll give me your number. But yeah, really appreciate you, RJ. Bunch of, you know, I don't even know what to say honestly at this point, but appreciate you.